So today I'm joined by my lovely assistant Sam, and we're going to show you guys a very cool looking trick. So Sam, as you can see, I've placed 4 cards here on the table ahead of time. You can actually flip these over and take a look at what we have here. So we actually have the 4 aces, and you can agree these are all normal cards and everything, right? Okay. So what's going to happen is I'm actually going to be taking these aces, and can you actually help me with this? Because I want to lose them in 4 different places in the deck. So you can just take them here, just kind of put them in random areas in the deck. Perfect, just like this. So you can agree 4 different aces, 4 different places. Well, that rhymed, I didn't even realize that. Okay, so obviously the goal for this trick is for me to locate the aces. And do you actually want to know the most common way that people locate the aces? Is it's actually by cutting the cards and then finding them like that. So if I can do it, it would look something like this. Oh, okay, well, okay, let's actually try again. There, no, weird, that's strange. Okay, this is a little bit embarrassing. Okay, so maybe cutting the aces is not the way to go. So let's actually try a different method. I'll find the first one by using misdirection instead. So let's see here. Did you see me find it? No, over here. Did you see how the cards actually found it themselves? And you can actually go ahead and take a look. That is the ace of spades right there. And so since this is the black ace, we should then use these cards to find the ace of clubs, the next black ace. So can you actually give the deck a quick cut for me and complete it? Perfect. We'll go ahead and find the ace of clubs. It should be about middle, right about there. We should find the ace of clubs. And for the red aces, it's actually very difficult, but I think if I can do it, it should look something like this. And there we have all 4 aces found. And that's the trick, guys. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this trick, and if you did, be sure to stick around for the tutorial. Alright guys, so here's the tutorial for the trick that you just saw. So this trick is a little bit more on the advanced side. There's a lot of sleight of hand and things to keep track of when performing this trick, especially things like misdirection. But once you guys practice and get the hang of it, this is a really, really fun and fooling effect that I think people will enjoy. Without further ado, here's how the trick works. So it's a completely impromptu trick. All you want to do is just get out the 4 aces beforehand, but the rest of the deck can be completely shuffled. It does not matter whatsoever. The only thing you want to make sure about the aces is that they're alternating colors. So just make sure that they're either going black, red, or red, black. It's completely up to you. Once the aces are in this order, those cards will be placed on the table, and you start the trick just like this. So you have the spectator take a look at what these 4 cards are, and there are the 4 aces, and while the spectator is looking at these cards, you can take the top 4 cards of the deck and turn these over, maintain a pinky break, and keep your wrist turned over like this so that the deck is now facing up. But you have 4 face-up cards on top of the deck. This is so that when you take the cards and you turn them back over, you can then take your left hand and scoop up everything like this, placing these cards on top of the deck. When you square up the cards, now you will have a break underneath 8 cards. So then what you do is you spread off the top 3 cards, leaving this ace flush on the deck, because if you were to spread that, then you would be able to see that face-up card. So just do the top 3. So you're gonna spread off these top 3 and ask the spectator to help you lose the aces in the deck. And while you ask them this question, you're actually going to be taking your fingers here with these 3 cards and lifting up basically this entire block of 5 cards over here as 1 ace. So it looks something like this. You're gonna lift up with your fingers here in the back all those cards together so that you can take all these aces. It looks like you're just taking the 4 aces and flipping them over on top of the deck, and then you're gonna spread them out here on the table for the spectator to lose in the deck. But in reality, these 4 cards are now completely random cards, and the 4 aces are actually on top of the deck. So once the 4 cards are on the table, you're actually going to spread the deck out from left to right, and you're going to instruct the spectator to help you lose the aces in the deck. What you're going to be doing is something very sneaky here. If you were to actually let the spectator place these 4 cards in wherever they wanted, there's a possibility that they could interlace these cards within the top 4 cards, which would be very bad because you need to keep these 4 cards where they are. You need to keep these 4 aces exactly on the top. So in order to prevent this, I came up with a very, very sneaky way to allow the spectator to only place the cards in the bottom half of the deck, and that's by you guys losing the aces in the deck together. So what you do is you grab one of the aces and you start placing it near the top half of the deck. This will psychologically force the spectator to only work in the lower half of the deck here, because you're occupied already by putting the aces in the top half of the deck. So if you take these two aces here and you lose them in the top half of the deck, then the spectator will be psychologically forced to only work and place these in the bottom half of the deck. But basically, once those 4 cards have been lost, you push those cards in the deck, and you can give the cards a little bit of a shuffle here, but just maintain the top 4 cards on top of the deck, and those will be your 4 aces. So once the cards are shuffled, you tell the spectator that you're going to obviously try to locate these cards, and you ask the spectator if they know what the most common way of finding the cards is. And as you're talking, you're actually going to be getting a break underneath the 3rd ace right over here. You're basically going to be doing a version of the KM move, which, if you don't know what that is, it's a move where you actually reverse a card. You're going to use your fingers here to maintain that card so that it actually stays on the deck while you gesture with this hand and point to the spectator. And then you take the cards and you put them back on top of the deck. But what that does is it actually secretly reverses that 3rd card. So one more time, you get a break. You're going to be gesturing with your hand these 3 cards. Before you gesture, you're going to flip your wrist over on top, but these fingers will slide that bottom card out on top of the deck, and then your right hand will point to the spectator, asking them if they know the most common way that the magician will find the aces. What this does is it flips over that card on top of the deck, and then you explain that the most common way of finding the aces is cutting to the aces. As you say this, you're just going to bring this hand back and cover that ace on top. So now you have that 3rd card turned over in the deck, and now you explain to the spectator that you're going to cut to the aces. So what you're going to do now is you're just going to cut to 2 random spots in the middle, and you're going to get the trick wrong. But this is all on purpose. So you just cut to a random card and you pretend like you messed up. You say, oh, interesting, let me try again. And you cut to another random card, and it seems like you failed the trick already. But this is actually fully on purpose. You just want to get 2 random cards out of the middle of the deck, and then you say, okay, I don't think this is actually working. I'm going to use misdirection instead. As you say all of this, you're going to pick up the 2 cards and get a break on the top card. Place the 2 cards on top, pick up everything at the break, which is now 3 cards. You're going to thumb off here this 9, place the 4 of clubs on top, and then you're gonna basically give these cards a little squeeze, a little bend, and then drop those on the table. What this does is it actually sandwiches an ace in the center of those 2 cards right over here, but it's going to be hidden because of that squeeze that you did, and when you drop the cards, it's gonna be hidden. So once you have that here, you say that you're gonna find the first ace by using misdirection. Now all you do is just whatever you want, some fancy false cuts. I just like to take a card out, give it a little spin, give it a little flick, put it back in the middle. Like, I'm not really doing anything at this point. I could do anything I want here, as long as I don't reveal that second face-up card, because that's going to be a face-up ace. But then you ask the spectator, did you see me find it? And as you ask this question, you're actually going to be riffling until you get the top 3 cards, and then you're going to hold a break right below those 3 cards, and the spectator is going to say, no, I didn't see you find it. And then you clarify and you say, oh no, I didn't mean me, I meant the cards. And then you spread off the top card over here on the table, and then they're going to see the face down card right there in between. They're going to freak out, and then you're going to ask them to take out the card and flip it over themselves, which will reveal the first ace. Now what you're going to do is you're actually going to be picking up these cards as they're reacting to that ace being found, and you're going to hold these cards in biddle grip. Now what you're going to be doing next is a version of the top change. This is a version of the top change that Danny Ortiz likes to use a lot. It's a really clever way to switch out a packet of cards for another packet of cards. So in this case, you're going to be switching out these 2 random cards for the remaining 3 aces on top of the deck here. So you're going to gesture to this ace here. But before you gesture, you're basically going to be doing like a swing cut type of thing. So you're going to be picking up the cards with your break in the back with your thumb, middle finger here on the top. You're going to be grabbing those, and then your thumb is going to hold down the top 2 cards that you were originally holding. And then once you're clamped down and your middle finger has now slid out those cards, you're going to basically use your left hand only now to point to this ace and say, now because this is a black card, and then you're going to set down the rest of the deck. What you've done is you've now switched out those 2 cards for these 3 cards, and you say, now because this is a black ace, we're going to be using these cards over here to find the second black ace. Now what I do here is I set the deck down, and then I actually get a pinky break on the bottom card, so that will allow me to grab the top 2 cards as 1 card. And I like to do that little flick sound because it really just solidifies in the spectator's mind that this is just 2 single cards. I don't know why, but that audio illusion is very, very convincing. So all I do is I just pull down, I take the top 2 cards and I just kind of pop them like this, and then I place the cards in my hand just like so. Now I ask the spectator at this point to give the deck a quick cut. What this will do, it will do 2 things. It will just allow the spectator to feel the cards getting mixed up, but it will also bury those 2 random cards that you had found in the center of the deck. So now if the spectator were to locate those 2 cards, they wouldn't be on the top or the bottom. They're going to be somewhere randomly in the middle of the deck. So it kind of helps you clean up for the ending of the trick. Take the deck back once they're done cutting, and you're just going to dribble the cards on the table, and whenever you want, you're just going to basically pretend to catch this card out of the deck. All you're doing is you're going to move your thumb down very, very quickly as you insert the cards into the deck, and it should look like you are pulling the card right out of the deck, and it looks like pure magic. The card appears in between the other 2 cards. And then you're gonna square up the deck and say, now the last 2 aces, the red aces, are the most difficult, but if I can do them correctly, it should look something like this. And then I just like to flip over the last 2 aces in my hand. And it's a very, very strong kicker ending. And yeah, that right there is basically the entire trick. You end completely clean. Those cards from before are now completely hidden in the deck. And yeah, the spectator can really examine everything. There's nothing here to find. So yeah, that's the trick, guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed this one. See you guys next time. Bye.